UFC 274 Oliveira versus Gaethje just took place, and I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main events, giving my reaction and breakdown to every single fight on the card, and my overall event recap as well. Let's start straight away with the early prelim opener of Newson versus Fernie Garcia. Competitive first round, could go either way. Some people gave it to Newson, others gave it to Fernie Garcia. Second round, Newson. Third round, Newson. I mean, it wasn't really anything to really get too crazy about while I was watching it. Fernie Garcia's not good at anything, really. He had no game whatsoever. I don't know how he expected to win. Newson got takedowns where he needed to secure some of the rounds that he was already winning, in my opinion, as well. And he was just basically able to do whatever he wanted because Fernie Garcia had an overhand right and nothing else. And sometimes with these contender series guys, you just don't know how good they are because they all have about like 10 fights before they get onto the contender series, and then they're on the main stage on pay-per-view. And Fernie Garcia just completely let me down, in all honesty. I picked him to win. I failed. I didn't do too good on predictions again this card, but I'm telling you, man, give me high-quality fights. I'll give you high-quality predictions. Newson gets it done. No good for him. He had one of his victories taken away from him, so I'm glad he got a victory. Good for Newson. Cool name, I guess. And he won arguably every round, definitely 2 rounds. He definitely won the fight and just outclassed Fernie Garcia. Had some good moments where he rocked him as well quite badly. Rocked him with a wheel kick in the 3rd round as well. So those are some good moments. Good for Newson. Moving on up the card, Ariane Carnelossi versus Lupita Godinez. I picked Lupita Godinez to win. I thought it would be a little bit more competitive than that. Lupita Godinez is a good female fighter. And we'll get to the bad ones in a bit. Lupita Godinez is going to be a title contender at strawweight. There is a level of skill that I'm noticing with her in her fights that you don't see with other women's fighters coming up. They all get into scrappy contests back and forth in their first few fights. Lupita looks good for a female fighter. Great wrestling, great timing on her double legs, good stand-up as well. A little bit sloppy with a stand-up here and there, but like, it's women's MMA, it's going to be sloppy and terrible. But either way, good stand-up here and there. Lupita Godinez genuinely impressed me. Not for a female MMA fighter, for an MMA fighter. Lupita Godinez generally impressed me. Great performance, great scrambles, great submission attempts. Ariane Carnelossi is a strong woman, so she was able to escape some of those bad positions for herself. But you know what I mean? Like, Lupita Godinez had a great performance. Really, really good win. Great scrambles. Beat up Ariane Carnelossi on the ground. I gave the last 2 rounds 10-8 rounds. The first round 10-9. She almost finished Ariane Carnelossi on the feet in the second. Beat her up on the ground in the second as well. Same thing in the third. Beat her to every scramble. Takedown timing immaculate. She did whatever she wanted with Carnelossi. And Carnelossi must have about 5 pounds on her. And she was picking her up and ragdolling her like she was nothing. I think Lupita Godinez is going to be a top 10 women's strawweight fighter. Really looking forward to her rise through the UFC. And she's so young as well and very active. Let's keep the ball moving. Lupita Godinez. Moving on up the card. Kleydson Rodrigues versus CJ Vergara. Kleydson Rodrigues won the fight, rounds 1 and 3. CJ Vergara got the second round. Arguably, it could be a 10-8, but it wasn't. Like, he didn't do enough damage. To give CJ Vergara that fight is criminal. It was a close 3rd round, don't get me wrong, but close rounds can have clear winners. And Kleydson Rodrigues won the 1st and 3rd round of that fight. I picked him to win this fight by decision. He won by decision. It was taken away from me. Whatever. I get it. He went off balance at one point in the first part of the 3rd round. But other than that, he had him in a calf splicer, rear naked choke attempt. He dominated him, landed big shots on the feet. It was a competitive round. Both guys were landing their good shots, but Kleydson Rodrigues landed all of the better shots in the 3rd round. And if that wasn't enough, where I already thought he was ahead in the 3rd round, in the last 30 seconds, he's landing big blows, check hooks, body kicks. He's putting a statement on to make sure that he doesn't get robbed, and still the judges rob him, and it's just really bad. Kleydson Rodrigues won. Was he as good as I thought he would be? No. Vergara walked him down in certain moments of that fight and made him look quite mediocre, but he won the 1st round and he won the 3rd round. He should have won that fight 29-28. Didn't look good either way, though. Let's be real. It's CJ Vergara. If you're going to be a special flyweight contender, beat him. So, he didn't. 29-28 Kleydson. They gave it to Vergara. Whatever. Robbed me. Moving on. Up the card, Tracy Cortez versus Melissa Gatto. I picked Melissa Gatto by submission from on her back, and so many times in this fight I thought that was going to happen as well, but it just never did. She never got the submission. I was kind of annoyed by her because I think she had a really good opportunity to win this fight against Tracy Cortez, but She just wanted to be on bottom non-stop. Every single time that Tracy Cortez went for a takedown, and Melissa Gatto would roll for something and just not get it and then just remain on bottom rather than fighting her way to scramble on top. When she was on top and had the back, she did well. Sometimes she took the back and didn't put the body triangle in. Basic stuff that you just should be doing if you're an MMA fighter. Put the body triangle in if you're on someone's back and you have the time to. Don't just sit there with one hook in when you can easily get the other one in. It was just basic stuff that she didn't do because she's so stunning and brave. And Tracy Cortez won by a couple of decent time takedowns, ending up on top. She was outstruck on the feet here and there, but she ended up on top when Melissa Gatto went for submissions, and that won her the fight based on total strikes. She wins 29-28. Good job, Tracy Cortez. She wins. And she's the star. So it's better that she wins anyway. But yeah, I really thought I had that one with the submissions. But Gatto just incapable of being smart. Moving on. Up the card. Andre Fialho versus Cameron VanCamp. This guy, Fialho. Looking to get right back in there for 275. I love this guy. Anyone who says fighters aren't paid enough, he just got a 50k bonus as well. Okay? Came in for Mikel Pereira, had a good scrap with him, made money there, a little bit of money, not a lot, came right back, got a first round KO over Miguel Beza, made some money there, good money, came back again, gets a first round KO over Cameron VanCamp, good money, bonus on top. Now he's looking to turn right back around a couple of weeks later. This is the epitome of who cares about fighter pay, I'm going to go out and earn my money. This guy don't take a holiday after a win, like most other UFC fighters, predominantly Western fighters. This guy gets right out there and back to work, and goes out there and gets another amazing KO over Cameron VanCamp. VanCamp actually gave him some problems, though. He even outlanded Andre Fialho, even with the finish included. So, VanCamp actually might be something, in all honesty. Like, if he can, I mean, his chin didn't look the best, and I actually called it happening live. Like, he's coming in with his hands way too low. Like, he's going to get clipped eventually here once Fialho gets his timing down. But VanCamp has power in his hands. He didn't shoot any takedowns. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. I thought that would be a bit of a mistake. But you know what? He had decent hands. He was landing some decent kicks, keeping Andre Fialho at range, kicking him, had some really good punches. He rocked Andre Fialho at one point as well. So keep an eye out for VanCamp, I guess. Like, he genuinely, like, outside of being KO'd in the first round by Fialho, which happens, it happens to Miguel Beza. He had his moments, and he looked somewhat technically okay, defensively not okay. Fialho gets the job done by first round KO. I love this guy, Fialho. I'm all aboard the Fialho Express. Sanford MMA, 28 years of age, lots of experience, great power, great chin, great recovery, good cardio as well over 3 rounds, even on short notice against Mikel Pereira. He had a good third round. Fialho's the fucking man. And he had a great performance. Good for him, and he's turning right back around. I love this attitude. Andre Fialho gets it done. Moving on, I went like 2-3 on the prelims because of the Vergara robbery. Should have been 3-2. Whatever. Moving on to the prelims. Blagoi Ivanov versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima. De Lima won the first round clearly, outlanding Blagoi massively in the first round. Second 2 rounds, Blagoi Ivanov pushed the pace, landed more shots, landed the more effective shots, rocked Marcos Rogerio de Lima in the third. DC actually gave Marcos the round because of the takedown at the end of the third, but I gave Blagoi the round because he wobbled Marcos Rogerio de Lima in the third round. Won the second round, in my opinion. Pushed the pace, pushed him up against the cage. Wasn't an entertaining fight whatsoever. It still was way better than Namajunas Esparza, but it wasn't the best fight, so what can you do? Wasn't the best performance from both guys. They both look like fat slobs. It's a shame that these are the guys, like someone mentioned in the chat, like the UFC spends billions on a PI. And surely when these guys walk through the door, the PI guy goes, hey, maybe you shouldn't be morbidly obese. But what do I know? I'm just in better shape than both of them. Whatever, though. Blagoi Ivanov, Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Yeah, they slobbed all over each other. They genuinely were dribbling on each other at one point. Like, it's very messy. Both guys overweight, gassing out. I don't know how you can be them, look at Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gane, and Curtis Blades and Ngannou, and then think, I should be obese. Like, I don't get that. But whatever. Good win from Blagoi Ivanov. Last 2 rounds. Very, very close, to be fair. He gets the job done. Moving on. Up the card. Brandon Royval versus Matt Schnell. Schnell looking good, drops Brandon Royval in the first round, and Brandon Royval finds his way back into the fight, gets it done with a guillotine. Schnell actually had a really good guillotine attempt himself, tried to turn it into a Darce, I believe, but it wasn't at the right angle. He had a bit of, I believe, adrenaline dump, thought that he had a submission in when it wasn't really in. Brandon Royval scrambled very well. He has amazing scrambles in his fights. Speaking of which, Kleydson Rodrigues' scramble at the end of the second round was ridiculous, but whatever, back to this. Brandon Royval gets the guillotine in the first round, latches it up, it's already in, power guillotine, connects the hands, and Schnell's tapping with both hands. I mean, it was just textbook guillotine right there. Schnell left his chin in position to get guillotined. We see this over and over again recently with these guillotines, like at this point, it's kind of on the fighter, really, than the guy getting the guillotine. Like, what are you doing with your head in that position? Why aren't you fighting the hands? But whatever. He gets caught in a bad position a little bit too quickly before he can escape and has to tap. Brandon Royval gets it done in another wildfire fight in the first round. It got fight of the night bonus as well, which is interesting because there were some fun scraps. Royval, good performance. Moving on up the card. Macy Chiasson versus Norma Dumont. Really boring fight again. Not much in the first, just holding against the cage. Second round, holding against the cage. Third round, holding against the cage. Dumont, I believe, it was a close first round. It goes to Macy Chiasson. Second round goes to Macy Chiasson. Close. Could go to Norma Dumont, in all honesty, on the more significant strikes, the more damaging shots. But Chiasson need her in the fight against the cage. Third round, similar story. Went to Norma Dumont. I thought the third round pretty clearly. She rocked Chiasson all over the place. All Chiasson did was hold her against the cage and need a thigh. She actually had Chiasson wobbled on many occasions in the third round. Almost had her finished. All the judges gave it 30-27. 2 judges, 30-27. They gave the third round to Chiasson. No agenda there, I'm sure, based on the look and lifestyle choice of Chiasson. Either way, if that was a male fight, it gets separated 10 times over. Look at Blagoi Ivanov versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima. They were against the cage for like 30 seconds without doing anything. And the referee's like, you got to work. But because they're women, you can't talk to them like that because that's all they do. Make fights boring. So, yeah, really boring fight, and she gave a speech afterwards when people were booing like it's harder to be women. Harder to be women. She's in a title elimination bout, and she's on a losing streak, and she's 9-2, 8-2 before. Really difficult to be her. She wins. Moving on. Up the card. Francisco Trinaldo versus Danny Roberts. Good scrap back and forth. Arguably should have got fight of the night, really, with certain moments of it. Trinaldo had some good moments. Roberts had some good moments. Trinaldo had the moments that Roberts was jelly-legged from. Let's be real. Roberts did good in the first round. I actually gave the first round to Roberts. I actually thought, well, Trinaldo's landing big shots, but I'm over-exaggerating the big shots because I know how bad the chin of Danny Roberts was. So he won the first round, in my opinion, based on significant strikes. Round 2, Trinaldo wobbles in with a jab. Roberts can't take punches. Simple as that. You shouldn't be getting wobbled. You shouldn't be getting wobbled by a jab. Not to where your legs go to jelly like that. Happens too much to him. I picked him to win because I thought maybe he wouldn't get wobbled. And Trinaldo's 43, so I was like, eventually you're gonna start coming in with injuries and not performing at your best and getting out hustled by the younger guy. But you know what? Good for Trinaldo. Goatnaldo back in action. Still on a good win. Still winning fights in the UFC. Having good performances. Trinaldo gets it done. Wobbles Danny Roberts all over the place. At the end of round 2, they go to war back and forth for a little few moments. Round 3, similar story. Roberts doing okay on the outside, having his moments, picking his shots. Trinaldo lands a shot. Roberts goes jelly-legged. He just goes jelly-legged too much, and his chin's just not there, man. Trinaldo wins. 29-28, maybe 30-27. First round could also go to him, maybe. Good win from Francisco Trinaldo there. Very good moment from him. He gets another win, and a big win for him as well. Moving on. Up the card, Randy Brown versus Chaos Williams. Robbery, man. I don't care what anyone says about this contest. Robbery. Chaos Williams won that fight against Randy Brown. Simple as that. He won the first round because it was a close round. He was leg kicking Randy Brown. He was keeping the numbers up on him. I think he actually might have. Let me have a look at the stats here for this fight anyway. He won the first round in my opinion. Even if he wasn't up on the stats in the first round, which he full well couldn't have been. Maybe. Full well could have not been up on the stats in the first round. Let me have a look real quick here. Randy Brown, Chaos Williams 21-18 in the first round. He was up on strikes. He wobbled Randy Brown to the ground at one point. Had a Darce choke attempt, which wasn't considered a submission attempt by the stats. That's odd. Either way, had a submission attempt in. Didn't roll it over, but it was in. It was a tough squeeze that he had going on. Won the first round. I don't think anyone's complaining about that whatsoever. Round 2, Randy Brown wins the round pretty clearly. Barely outlanding Chaos Williams 34-25, but doing it with the more significant shots. Chaos Williams didn't really land any big shots in that round. He still had some moments where he landed a good shot to the body. A couple of decent leg kicks here and there, but Randy Brown was feeling himself. Great head movement throughout the fight as well, making Chaos Williams miss. Chaos Williams, I get that he's got KO blows, and that's why I thought he won this fight. We'll get to the third round in a second, but he's terrible at fighting. No technique, falling over himself, absolute disgrace. Randy Brown, great technique, just none of the power that Chaos Williams has. It's like a battle of two different styles, you know what I mean? Randy Brown, good movement, a little bit risky here and there, but still won the second round, outlanded him pretty clearly there. Third round, I get Randy Brown won on significant strikes, but he got dropped on his ass by a flush uppercut in round 3. You don't win a round, you get knocked down in unless you like triple someone, simple as that. Marlon Vera got tripled by Rob Font. He knocks him down at the end of the round. They give him the round. Tripled. Doubled. Knocks him down at the end of the round. They give Marlon Vera the round. No one has a problem with it whatsoever. Randy Brown was barely outlanding him. Chaos Williams still landing good shots to the body. Still landing a couple of good shots to the head as well. Still landing some good leg kicks of his own in that third round too. Randy Brown outlanded him by 12 strikes. 41-29. And Chaos Williams landed a flush uppercut that put him on his ass, and he followed up with some shots afterwards on the ground. Kept him there for a bit as well of control time. 4 minutes of control time to 10 seconds of Randy Brown's. Chaos Williams won the third round, won the first round. He won the fight 29-28. I don't know how judges can't see that, but whatever. Moving on. I get it, Randy Brown had some good moments. Good knee to the face in the third round, but that don't over... You're not doubling him, you're not tripling him, you're outlanding him by 11. You're winning a round, but you got flush dropped with an uppercut in it. You lose. You got controlled for minutes in that round, like it's... I don't even have to get into it. Chaos Williams won that fight. Moving on. I picked him to win. Got robbed. OSP versus Shogun Rua. OSP clearly won. Landed all of the clean shots. Shogun Rua had some moments. These stats are so wrong, man. It was not even in the first. It was not close to even in the second. It was nowhere near... Like, someone gave Shogun that fight. That's ridiculous. He barely landed clean. They weren't big shots. OSP was digging the balls of his foot into the body of Shogun Rua. He did not land. They're saying he landed 58% of 62 strikes to the body. Okay? Let's say that's just over half. Let's just give a random number of 37. That is. He landed 20 body kicks a round. I'm not over-exaggerating that number. And that's just body kicks. Those stats are completely wrong. They tried to give Shogun Rua a win. He didn't win, clearly. He got body kicked the entire night long. He clearly lost that fight, arguably every round. At best, you could give him round 2, maybe. He lost that fight to OSP. He was getting a body kicked out. Inside leg kicks with the toes from Shogun Rua were landing. Not as good as body kicks from OSP. OSP landed round kicks to the body. Leg kicks of his own. Straight left hand down the pipe. OSP clearly won the fight. 30-27 in my opinion. If not 29-28 based on the second. I have no idea how you can score that fight for Shogun. Was it quite boring? Yes, OSP did the bare minimum to win. But he clearly won. Simple as that. And Shogun was visibly feeling the body shots as well as the fight went on. OSP wins, and he had control time for a little bit. Moving on to another moment up the card. Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson. Let's speed through these last 3 because I've done in-depth breakdowns for all of them. Tony Ferguson looking amazing in the first round. Looking absolutely amazing in the first round. Drops Michael Chandler off balance. It wasn't counted as a knockdown because he was off balance, but still. Chandler ended up landing more than him, but because Tony Ferguson put him off balance with a good knockdown, I gave that first round to Tony Ferguson. Landed some good elbows from on bottom as well. Cut open Michael Chandler. Busted up his eye in the first round too. Ferguson looked amazing in the first round. People don't look that good in the first round against Chandler. Ask Justin Gaethje. Ask Charles Oliveira, who we'll get to in a second. Ferguson looked amazing. And then second round, they're feeling each other out in the second round. Chandler front kicks his face off and ends Tony Ferguson's career. Simple as that. Put him to the ground, out cold, on the canvas, asleep for many minutes. Chandler has one of the best KOs in UFC history. Cuts a promo on the mic and calls out Conor McGregor. And also calls out Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje. If you don't get a McGregor one, I don't even mind a Gaethje rematch. And I don't mind his chances after watching Gaethje get put down by Olives. Because his chin might never be the same either. Chandler's very good. Amazing performance by him. It feels so bad to be a Tony Ferguson fan. I've already gone into it enough. You can go watch my full reaction video to that fight specifically on my channel, where I'm just moaning about Ferguson losing basically the entire time. I picked Chandler to win by KO. He won by KO. Moving on, up the card, Carla Esparza versus Rose Namajunas. Terrible. I thought Rose won. I thought she won the first, won the second, won the third. She outlanded Carla in the third. I thought she outlanded her in the first. The stats say otherwise. I don't think they're correct. Round 2, I thought she outlanded Esparza again. Don't think they're correct. And I thought she clearly won the fifth. I don't know how Esparza won that fight. 4 rounds to 1 is weird. I think they were punishing Rose for her performance, but Esparza did the same. They both did nothing. They both looked terrible. They aren't good fighters. They're terrible. They fainted on the outside against each other. They costed everyone their money. They tried to ruin the sport of MMA for everyone in the fans. Like, it's just so disgraceful that they can even call themselves world champions. They did nothing for 5 rounds but stare at each other at range for 25 minutes. Absolutely disgraceful. Carla barely committed to anything in the first 3 rounds, and she was trying to win a belt, apparently. She got the belt 4-1. No idea how she got it 4-1. 48-47 I'd get, but like how? At best, she was evening those rounds with Rose. This was Rose Namajunas. 3-2, 4-1, but they gave it to Esparza. Terrible from both. I'm glad Rose got robbed. It was a fucking pathetic performance. The worst I've ever seen in UFC history. No surprise, though. Moving on to the main event. Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje. Amazing performance from both in moments. Justin Gaethje does what he does. He rocks a guy, he hurts him bad, but this time they don't go away because they aren't a quitter, Justin Gaethje. Okay? They are Charles Oliveira, the champion of the lightweight division, and he puts down Gaethje badly in the first round. Hurts him after being hurt by Gaethje a couple of times, and Charles Oliveira is the champ. Reigns supreme. Amazing performance by Charles Oliveira. One of the best I've seen of his entire career. Now, he did have some bad moments early on because recently he has been getting rocked against these top guys. Honestly, not the best performance of his entire career because I guess Gaethje's so dangerous, so it can happen to where he gets chinned and clipped in the first round. But Oliveira's walking into some shots. He maybe could have kept range a little bit better early on. Poked with the front kick to the body. Some spinning back kicks to the body, who knows. But everything going on in his mind leading into that fight, and he still goes out there and has an amazing performance against Justin Gaethje. Goes out there, and in the first 30 seconds of this fight, people are forgetting about this moment, rocks Justin Gaethje badly with a big shot. Hurts him badly, goes for the finish. Justin Gaethje eventually bounces back. Oliveira's knees to the body are vicious. You can see everything Oliveira does to his opponent viciously hurts them. And the same thing happens back to Oliveira. I get that too. He does get wobbled and dropped by big shots when people land them. But it's just when he lands those knees to the body, and he lands those teeps to the body, and he lands his own punches on them, they feel everything. Teeps to the body, knees to the body, punches to the body, punches to the head. They react to everything he does. He's vicious, he's sharp, he's dangerous, and he goes out there and recovers on the ground early on after rocking Gaethje before that, gets dropped, gets back up, goes down again to a big shot, gets back up, dusts himself off, puts down Justin Gaethje with a big right hand after pressuring him, after being concussed, and Gaethje wilts to the pressure again. Gaethje, for a guy who calls a lot of people quitters, he wilts to pressure. If you put it on Gaethje for real, and he can't get you out of there with a big punch, he will slowly start to break down and cower away and start eating bigger and bigger shots. And that's what happened here against Charles Oliveira. Big shot from Charles Oliveira, puts him down, straight right hand, right on the chin, perfect shot, latches up the rear naked choke, tries to switch to an armbar. Gaethje does a good job of defending and trying to roll out of it, but then Charles Oliveira latches up the back again. He's too good on the ground. The arms under the chin, the rear naked chokes in, tap, tap, tap. Gaethje taps again. 2 for 2 on submission attempts to taps for Justin Gaethje. And Charles Oliveira is the lightweight world champion. Amazing performance. Don't know what's next. I'll do a video of that tomorrow. But yeah, Charles Oliveira is the champ. Amazing performance. Amazing performance. In terms of performance bonuses, I heard that Rose Namajunas got the crypto bonus. The simps cannot be stopped. But a lot of people are like talking trash on the UFC. And I understand, listen, it's kind of like, I get it. You're going to talk trash on the UFC with who they give the bonuses to and stuff like that. 2 performances bonuses and stuff like that. Chandler got a performance bonus. Of course, Chandler got a performance bonus. And Fialho got a performance bonus. And everyone's like, Charles? Why is Charles? Charles? He got his pay-per-view share. And I'm sick of people like, you complain about fighter pay at the lower end. Of course Fialho deserves it more than Charles Oliveira. Oliveira's making bank. He got his pay-per-view shares. He's already got millions in the bank. Fialho's fighting for 16 for 16, 12 for 12, 14 for 14. He's fighting for crumbs. At the bottom, let him get the 50k. People complain too much and don't think about the money that goes in. The money that these guys are earning before those performance bonuses. I'm all in favour of giving performance bonuses out to lower end fighters over top end fighters any day. A lot of people have favour towards the main event. It was a big main event. It finished off the night. They want to give them a performance bonus. I'm saying give the lower guys a bonus if they get a finish. That's my opinion. Good job for Fialho. Good job for Michael Chandler. They both deserved it. And in the fight of the night, Royval, Schnell. People are like, it should have been Gaethje versus Oliveira. Gaethje versus Oliveira, it should have been. Nah. Give it to the lower guys. Give it to Royval. He needs bank. He don't earn too much money. Or Matt Schnell don't earn too much money either. Give him 50k. Whatever. I actually would have honestly given it to, what's its mush? Trinaldo Roberts, if you really want an actual fight of the night, really. But, you know, all good. Pretty good performance bonus for them. I think they just wanted to give Royval a bit of money, and they found this excuse to do so. So good for Matt Schnell as well. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle pip, I'll see you later. Click that button up there. I went 5 for 5. We'll start doing better as the cards get better. Goodbye.